What's up, guys? Arash Bar here with a Q&A for you guys. I chose a few very popular questions and I'm going to answer them, in a few different ways because some of the questions came from competitors, some of them came from non-competitors. So I'm going to answer the questions so regardless if you guys compete or not, regardless if you're a man or a woman, you can benefit from it. Very well-rounded. Okay, so Steve, what was the first question?
First question is, how do you transition from a prep to everyday life?
Okay, so how do you transition from a prep, dieting really hard for a show, real restricted, really obtaining really low body fat's really difficult, right? So real restriction, like crazy restriction, everything is weighed to everyday life. It's an awesome question because it's not an easy thing to do at all. First of all, what everyone does, now, if you guys aren't competitors, how this relates to you is a lot of people will diet for the summer. And a lot of people do it unknowingly. A lot of regular men and women will eat less calories in the summer just because subconsciously they know they're gonna be wearing skimpier clothes, or because when the weather's warm, people don't have as much appetite. So when you're so restricted for so long, and you're dieting really hard, if you're doing this purposely or if you're competing, you have that mental image of binging and eating and planning to go off your diet and cheating in 2 more weeks, 1 more week, 3 more days. First and foremost, you gotta take that out. I did that just like a lot of you do it. I did it as an amateur and I planned on what I was gonna eat. My first few shows, I even went shopping. The last week, when I was at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, I would buy the desserts and sweets I wanted and keep them in the house. And it wasn't tough. It's not like I cheated prior. That's not the reason why I don't do that anymore. But you're planning on it and you're thinking about it. It drives you crazy and it becomes an obsession. So I don't think it's good to do that. I think just wait till the show's done and whatever you feel like eating that night, eat and enjoy. But don't tell yourself that you're going off a diet. Don't be like, I'm done completely. So the next day after a show, what I do is I get right back on track. I don't plan cheats. Like this year after the Olympia, I didn't have anything after the show. The last 2 days, I'm carbing up. So I'm eating a lot of rice cakes, a lot of rice. I'm eating a lot of carbs and I'm enjoying myself, If I want some peanut butter and jelly on a rice cake or something, I'll have it. But this year, when I got back to the hotel after the show and everything, before I went out for the evening, I had a salad. I was, believe it or not, craving, because I love all my meals when I'm dieting. I just wanted a bigger version, And I ate salads my whole prep, but the last 2-3 days, I don't eat any vegetables or salad because it blows out your stomach. So I was actually craving it. So I had a salad with more chicken that I've been eating because even my protein was restricted, with avocado. If you want, throw some nuts in there, some raisins, some crushed rice cakes. I mean, you don't have to go off and eat so bad where it's detrimental. Now, if you're super lean and super conditioned and you go off and you eat donuts and burgers, you're not gonna get fat in one meal. But the issue is the next day you have cravings and you want more and more carbs and sugar and people just go off track. So without going off on a tangent, what I do is I get right back on cardio, fasted cardio the next day, and I get back on a pretty strict diet. So for the Olympia, I was on the same diet. I went back to protein, high fats, vegetables, and then when I came back to New York, I planned with my girl a cheat meal that we'd been thinking about and planning for a long time, which was a pizza spot that we really loved. So we did that. But, I already had all my glycogen full. I already had a lot of carbs in me. So I came back home and I trained and I depleted those and I got back to where I was before the show. And then I'll slowly go into my off season. I'll keep the cardio, I'll keep the diet. I'll maybe throw in a high carb day, or it depends. Like if I really want to do cheat meals after a show, and I hate calling them cheat meals because you're not cheating, it's planned. So I'll work around that, and I won't just start eating 200-300 grams of clean carbs right after a show, and on top of that have a cheat meal once a week and go into my off season expecting not to get water retention or store fat. Everyone has a different threshold. I can store fat pretty easily. If I jack my carbs up, I can gain weight really easily too. Some of you guys are like, metabolism's like furnace and you jack your carbs up and you even lose weight. So if that's the case, no problem, but you want to do it slowly. And believe it or not, when you're ripped to the bone, your metabolism is not fast, it's slow. So if you go from really low calories, a calorie deficit, to all of a sudden a lot more calories, you're likely to store fat. So like reverse dieting, it's difficult, but basically it's staying on the diet. and just adding 500 calories or 200 calories every day for that week, 2 weeks. See how you progress, and then slowly come out of the diet, reverse dieting. You never want to bump up your calorie intake, you know, couple 600, 700, 800 or more in one day consistently right after a show. That's detrimental. But you gotta like your food. I like all of my meals. I come up with concoctions and ways to enjoy them. Another little trick is, if you guys are doing lifestyle, if you're not competitors and you have work and you're going out to lunch and dinner parties, don't eat any carbs. Do 0 carb, because you can do 0 carb anywhere you go. It's pretty simple. High fats, proteins. You could have salads and steaks and salmons and nuts and cheese if you're dairy, if you have dairy in your diet. But carbohydrates are almost impossible to keep clean and to measure when you're out. No restaurant makes carbohydrates without fat, oil, butter, sugar, something in it. So the only way you can have a clean source of carbs, and if it's measured, is at home. So years ago, before I ever competed, I would get really lean in the summer. I have a picture, I'll put it up. I was shredded. I was about 6% body fat, never competed. I wasn't doing a show, and I was going out to dinners. I was even drinking once or twice a week if I wanted to. My rule of thumb was I would eat protein and vegetables and fats, and I would have my carbs only before or after I trained, measured at home. And a lot of times it was actually French toast with Ezekiel bread. So it was a really enjoyable diet. So I hope that answers the question. What's the next question, Steve?
The next question is going to be, how do you stay mentally focused and motivated while taking huge changes in your physique, whether it be prep or off season?
How do you stay motivated and mentally focused while making big changes in your body? Mm-hmm. Either getting ripped or off season?
Yes.
Love. Passion. You know, I don't think you're gonna stay motivated if you don't love what you're doing. You know, like this whole motivation thing of like, you know, what motivates you, what drives you. I think liking what you're doing motivates you. Loving what you're doing really drives you. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, anything, it could be work, it could be anything, you're not gonna stay motivated, you know? It's not easy. It's not easy. You have to be obsessed. When you do something that's difficult, you have to be doing it for the right reason. So when I'm dieting, a lot of times I'll think to myself, like, this is crazy. Like, what, you know, who does this? Restricting? Like, I could eat, the world is mine. I could do whatever I want. I could go right now to Five Guys. I could go to freaking eat a cheeseburger. I don't have to be doing this. I do it because I want to. I do it because I love it. I do it because I want to challenge myself. I do it because I love bodybuilding, the art of bodybuilding. It's not about the magazines or the fame or fortune or Instagram, because I started this a long time ago. So I think if I was doing this just for Instagram and for like magazines or for money, I don't think I would get as far as I got. I think I'd fall short, or I would cut corners or not train as hard. You know, because for the first 20 years, guys, when I was doing this, there was no like spotlight. I wasn't on Instagram. I wasn't on YouTube. I wasn't a pro. You guys, no one knew who I was. I just did it because I loved it. I was obsessed. I was obsessed with getting better. And as far as off season, if you guys are struggling in the off season with training hard and eating a lot of food, it's just not for you. Bodybuilding's not for you, because the off season's not hard. You know, you're in a caloric surplus. You're sleeping like a baby. It's not difficult to eat a lot of food. You know, I mean, is it difficult to eat a lot of clean food? I guess. You know. Everyone's different. I eat pretty clean. I can't eat a bunch of shit, a bunch of junk, and stay lean. That's for another video or another question. But, you know, I just have an idea in my mind of what I want to reach, a goal in my mind, a look, and I just keep on going, and I keep staying focused on that. There's nothing that I listen to or watch that motivates me. Sometimes I'll listen to some music or a motivational YouTube video that'll pump me up, and I'll go harder in the gym or in cardio, but that doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. It doesn't get me to go to the gym in the afternoon when I'm tired and depleted and I'm not eating any carbs. So I think if you guys are questioning your motivation and your drive, I think you should take a step back and question your purpose. Like, why am I doing this? Is this for me? But, you know, bodybuilding's not for everybody. You don't, like, if I wasn't a competitive bodybuilder, one of the top classic physique guys in the world, I would still work out and still be fit. I would have a balanced life, you know? I don't think your life should revolve around one thing unless that's your main focus and it's your work and your passion, your desire. A lot of young guys that I see in the gym, you know, my main advice to them is, listen, don't get carried away with this, you know, unless you think you have what it takes to be the best in the world and you can financially support yourself, you need to go to school or have a business or do something else. That's what I did. And then I always did this on the side and it kind of panned out on its own. So hope that answers that question. What's the next one?
How do you know when to plan a cheat meal, whether you need it or not?
How do you know when to have a cheat meal? Well, most of you, you know, okay, so, well, first of all, what is a cheat meal? I hate the word cheat meal because if it's planned and you need it and it's strategic, it's not cheating, right? So it's like a refeed. So I don't think a lot of you understand what the purpose of a refeed or cheat meal is. First of all, when you're in a caloric deficit, when you're dieting, your body thinks you're dying. Not if you're fat and you just started dieting yesterday, but if you're actually losing weight and losing body fat and you're burning more calories than you're taking in, than you're consuming, your body goes into defense mode and it says, well, we're not getting a lot of food here, we're gonna die. I know it sounds crazy, but at some point in the future, you're gonna die. It thinks you're starving. So what it does is it slows your metabolism down, and that's not good. You ever hear someone say, I swear to God, I'm still on my diet after the third week, but I'm not losing any more weight? And you're like, yeah, bullshit, you're probably eating extra. A lot of times they're not lying. They need a change in their diet. You know, they need a change somewhere or a little, either they need to lower calories or they need a little jolt. So what the refeed cheat meal is a surplus of calories. It doesn't have to be candy or pizza. It's a surplus of calories telling your body, here, we're not dying, relax. And if done properly, and if you've been dieting hard and you're actually lean, your metabolism will jumpstart and you'll actually feel it. Sometimes I have a hard time going to sleep because I'm so revved up, my heart's pounding and I feel like I'm like caffeinated. So, and your body temperature will go up. Like when I'm in prep, no matter what the temperature is, I'm cold all the time because when you're really, really lean, you get cold. My toes are cold, my hands are cold, I wear socks, I have a blanket. I'll have like a surplus of calories, even if it's clean carbs or a cheat meal like a burger fries, which is one of my favorite cheat meals. My body temperature goes up like immediately. I'll get super hot and I'll put on a tank top and shorts. So that's what a cheat meal is or a refeed is for when you're dieting. It's supposed to be planned and it's supposed to help you progress. It's not because you worked hard, here's a break. That's not the reason. Now in the off season, it depends. It depends what your threshold is. If I can eat all my calories, my clean carbs, fat, and protein, and then on top of that have pizza twice a week and have a burger and fries once a week, I would do it. You know, it depends how much you're eating. Now, I can stay in a lifestyle diet that's a restricted diet with cardio and stay really lean, and once a week go off and binge and eat whatever I want. That would be beautiful and easy for me, and I would be in shape all the time. But as a bodybuilder, I have to have an off season to improve, right? If I'm in a caloric deficit all the time and I'm as lean as I am now all the time, it's gonna be very, very hard to recover and improve because when you're really lean in a caloric deficit, you're kind of always in a catabolic state or struggling to recover and grow. So as a bodybuilder, we want to eat more. We don't necessarily want to get fat and bloated, but sometimes it comes with eating more. So if I start eating a lot more calories throughout my regular meals, my rice, my cream of rice, oatmeal, sweet potato, my clean foods, and then on top of that I have cheat meals, well, I might be putting on body fat. So that has to do with how much you're eating and how hard you're training and your metabolism threshold. I know a lot of guys in the off season that eat 5 times more than me and stay leaner. They have fast metabolism, higher threshold for more carbs or calories. So for me personally, I'll plan them around big workout days. I won't have them if I feel like I'm getting sloppy. There's many things you could do. Like if you want on a certain certain refeed day or cheat day, you can restrict calories so you can enjoy yourself in the evening and not feel guilty. You can do intermittent fasting where you're not eating for, from 8 p.m., for instance, the night before, 7 or 8 p.m. till 12 in the afternoon the next day. There's a lot of things you could do to help you get away with that. But first you have to understand where you are body composition wise and what the cheat meal is gonna do for you or not do for you. If it's just for fun and just enjoy yourself and your body fat's kind of high and you're eating a lot, I don't recommend it, because the higher your body fat gets, first of all, it sucks. Nobody wants to have high body fat. It doesn't look good and it's not healthy. And also your hormonal balance changes. When your body fat goes high, it'll affect your testosterone, your estrogen may rise. So that's terrible. But if you guys get really, really big in the off season, you gain a lot of weight and you gain some muscle with it too. Let's say you gain 10 extra pounds and 3-4 pounds of that is fat, but you gained an extra 1 or 2 pounds of muscle. Well, that's a pretty good trade-off, right? 1 or 2 pounds of muscle is an enormous amount of muscle. It's very hard to gain. But if you have extra fat, what's that mean? You have to diet a little bit longer to lose that extra fat. And when you diet, you're in a catabolic state. So if you're dieting longer because you put on more fat, well, the muscle that you gain might just go away, because when you diet, you're catabolic and you lose muscle. So you guys have to weigh those out. You know, when I was younger, I made the mistake of bulking like the 90s bodybuilders, and I was like 250 pounds, bloated, a lot of body fat. I gained a tremendous amount of muscle. I believe it did get my body to another level, my physique, because I gained so much strength and muscle, and I was heavy for a long time. But it was way too much body fat. Now when I look back in retrospect, it wasn't necessary. There was a point where I could have stopped maybe at like 230, but I was pushing to see how big I could get and to see what would happen. Now that tells me genetically I'm capable of that. That's pretty impressive. A lot of guys in my frame, I'm not a big frame guy, no one in my family's big, wouldn't get that heavy. So I'm capable of getting really heavy, but I also put on body fat. So it all depends on you, where you're at, what your goals are, and how important your body composition is. Some people just don't give a shit. Like if you look at Lee Priest, he used to go off in the off season, he used to go off and eat everything. And he was like a huge roly-poly, round and fat, and people would give him shit. But, you know, a lot of us bodybuilders are extremists. I'm all or nothing. I'm super, super strict, don't mess around, don't cheat on my diets, and then I will eat a cake for 15 people in one sitting, you know? So you gotta have some balance, or you gotta be super, super strict and have control. So decide which guy you are and act accordingly. All right, guys, so that was the 3 questions we chose for today. I hope you all benefited from them. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Type below, give us some more questions and some more topics you want me to touch on, and I'll make more videos for you guys, answering your questions, giving you guys the info, and sharing what I've learned over 2 decades, you know? A lot of the stuff is my own theories and my own ideas, and a lot of the stuff is stuff that I've learned from other people. I did the research, some of you don't want to do it, and trial and error and practice on myself for 2 decades and hundreds of clients. So all I'm trying to do is share with you guys to help you achieve your goals faster and not make a lot of the mistakes that a lot of you are making and that I made myself. Stay tuned.